Good morning. Welcome to the Grow Omaha Show, brought to you by D&M Roofing and Siding and Dingman's Collision Center. I'm Trenton Magid. My usual cohort, Jeff Beals, has the weekend off, but I am joined by the very able Jorge Sotolongo, who is my colleague at NAI MP Dodge and is a member of the Omaha Planning Board. Good morning.
Good morning, Trenton. Thanks for having me.
Later in the show, we're going to talk to Dr. Michelle Trawick, who is the Dean of the Business School, College of Business Administration at UNO, and it has been a very active week in Omaha.
Yes, it has.
What's going on with the Planning Board?
Well, Planning Board, let's see. We've got, I think next week, is it maybe 2 weeks from now? But what have you seen that you're referring to?
We'll get into that after the Development News of the Week, sponsored by Eagle Mortgage. Eagle Mortgage has been in business for over 30 years. They're licensed mortgage brokers serving Nebraska and Iowa. Give Holly a call or any of her very able mortgage brokers. They'll get you pre-approved for conventional VA and FHA loans. They're at the corner of 114th and Davenport, just south of 114th and Dodge, online at eaglemortgagecompany.com. And they shop your mortgage, so they're dealing with a number of lenders, not just in-house. So they're very competitive. You get that pre-approval letter. And as far as the Development News of the Week, the big story on our Grow Omaha newsletter, which comes out every Thursday, go to growomaha.com. The canopy construction at Eppley Airfield is really cool. And this is over and above the $600 million planned major renovation where they turn everything into one terminal. And basically what they're doing is they're doing a glass cover over the entire drop-off area, which is so cool. They announced Thursday that it's a $65 million terminal drive and canopy project, and they're calling it Build OMA, which is the call letters for our airport.
Build OMA, I love it.
Yeah. It'll be done by the end of 2024, and the $600 million project is certainly well underway. Did you hear about the $54 million Tranquility Park expansion?
I did. This is an amazing expansion for Tranquility. Yeah, lay it out for us.
The city of Omaha will invest $54 million, Tranquility Park, Northwest Omaha, which is 120th and Maple, and it'll go to the north and the west, creating a premier youth multi-sport complex and tournament facility. New hotels, restaurants, and retail are also planned along 120th between Maple and Fort. The plans for Tranquility are 13 to 16 synthetic turf multi-purpose fields, 8 to 11 synthetic turf baseball and softball fields, and they're going to improve the parking and the concessions. Projections show that the new facility will give Omaha the opportunity to attract at least 20 new regional and national youth sporting events worth $78 million in visitor spending each year. Construction will begin with the soccer fields in 2024. Baseball and softball improvements will begin in 26. Completion is for 2027. Now, this is on top of something I was involved with over in La Vista, the Nebraska Multi-Sports Complex, which is well underway with 12 field turfs. Then they're going to move to tennis courts and hopefully someday swimming. It sounds like every parent, every sports parent that travel or whatever, they're like, great, we finally have fields in Omaha. Are we going to have too many fields?
I don't know. I mean, I just think
when your kids get a little bit older.
I know. I feel like I'm going to be living at that Tranquility Park because I've got young kids, and so I'm glad to see there's going to be new amenities and everything like that. I remember playing there a lot as a kid. I was a soccer kid. So, and then to touch on the 120th and Fort in Planning Board, we've seen all the site plans for the development at 120th and Fort, hotels, retail, a lot of fun stuff, and very well timed.
And Mulholland's is out there with their development on 120th and Fort, and then you also have the Elkhorn and Valley that has a big complex that's broken ground out in Valley, which is kind of the same thing.
We're going to be like youth sports mecca, so I'm okay with it.
All those parents, and they'll still travel to it used to be Overland Park had the big complex, but now Omaha is going to compete. And when we were younger, I remember after college, my friends and I would always go to Kansas City once or twice to go to the Plaza, to go to P.F. Chang's, and go to Cheesecake Factory. We really set our standards high back then. We don't have to do that anymore. We don't have to shop in Kansas City. There's plenty of shopping opportunities. Nebraska Crossing, obviously, is a mecca of that. Your board, the Omaha Planning Board, it's kind of a controversial project, approved a 199-unit apartment project planned at 144th and DuPont Circle, north of Center Street. The 5-acre site sits directly north of Harvey Oaks Shopping Center. A existing medical building must be raised before construction can begin. Now, that's been going for a couple of years. I think the neighbors have really been on that at Harvey Oaks.
Yeah, I think it's gone through a few iterations. Yeah, this was a controversial one, I think, because it's, right next to a neighborhood, which people sometimes, are a little apprehensive about. I think the big one, too, is just, the one access off of 144th. And we talk all the time about traffic. We talk all the time about everything. But, density is a big thing. And I think it's a good use for the site, to be honest.
There's a lot of land back there.
It's a lot of land.
Isn't it four
a
or
lot of extra
stories?
ground there right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little taller than the neighbors would like, but that sometimes happens.
But it's got its own access. It's its own thing. I think it's going to be a nice project for the area.
Neighbors will build their house backing up to a cornfield or something, and then they're shocked when it becomes a development. And that's something that happens, for better or for worse. I mean, I remember the neighbors over at L Street Marketplace, for 50 years or whatever, Western Electric, that 100 acres from 120th to 132nd, the Great Lawn, people are like, well, I saw a hot air balloon land there when I was a kid, and that's what it should be used for.
Exactly.
And now it's hundreds of millions of dollars of development.
It's those stub streets. They'll get you every time. If you buy in a stub street, just know eventually something's going to happen, despite what a real estate agent will tell you.
Absolutely. Nebraska Medicine held its grand opening this week for the 90,000 square foot facility at 175th and Burke Street on its Village Point Health Center campus. This was a Noddle Company's development. It's the fourth building on the West Omaha campus and will include the following services: heart and vascular, orthopedics, pre-surgical screening, pulmonology, and an on-site pharmacy. So that campus, you've got Madonna Rehabilitation Hospital.
Right.
You got these beautiful medical buildings. It just adds. There's still a few pieces of land on the west around Walgreens. It'll be interesting. There's a lot of rumors about what's going on there. The Oxbow, this is outside Omaha, but it's a Oxbow Crossing is a 6-acre new development plan for Highway 6 and Silver Street in Ashland. According to the Lincoln Journal Star, plans call for a 5,300 square foot healthcare facility, an event center, a Runza. You need a Runza, and local steakhouse. Omaha-based Redline Development plans to build 48 apartments units as part of that project.
Very cool.
Yeah, and then our friend Steve Hinchcliffe and H&H construction has started on the new Kia dealership in the Steel Ridge development northeast of Interstate 80 and Highway 370, just adjacent to H&H Chevrolet. And that's right across from 88 Tactical. And that Steel Ridge on the south side, on Steel Ridge South, I think the first building's like 200,000 feet or something, but there was 50 acres that was sold to Rotella's Bakery. And that behind the Omaha Steaks plant over there, big truck dealerships. There's still some land over there, and they put a stoplight there finally on 150th Street, which kind of helps that area.
That is great. Incredible development going on out there, just exploding.
So I'm not sure what happened on this one, but Balin Manufacturing Company of Columbus, Nebraska plans to close its facility at 3838 South 108th Street along the interstate. According to the Omaha World Herald, Omaha employees have the option of transferring to Balin's operations in Columbus, Nebraska. The Omaha plant will either be repurposed or sold.
How big is that building, Trenton, do you think?
It's a big one. I was talking about it with some other brokers, and I was in it when they wanted to sublease some space or lease some excess space, but it's been a number of years. And then some exciting news before we go to break. Omaha Steaks is a great corporate company, or a great company in Omaha, a great philanthropist, was recognized as one of the Nebraska's safest companies for the 22nd year in a row by the National Safety Council. So a lot going on. We are going to take a short break before we bring Dr. Michelle Trawick, who is the Dean of the College of Business Administration at UNO. You're listening to Trenton Maggot and guest co-host Jorge Sotolongo. We'll be right back in 2 and 2. Wait, Scott Voorhees gets to make stuff up and we can't, Jorge? This isn't fair. Well, welcome back to the Grow Omaha Show, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing. D&M Roofing is a company that has been around for about 65 years, led by Eric Obrempt. And Jeff and I have both used them on our houses. I've used them on other family houses and commercial properties, flat roofs, shingled roof, pitch roofs, whatever it is. Check out dnmroofing.com because they do an amazing job. Great people through and through, and you can't go wrong with that. Well, we are back. Jorge Sotolongo, my colleague and Omaha Planning Board member, is filling in very ably for Jeff Beals, who is playing hooky this weekend, or he has a baseball game, I believe. Not his, but his child's.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. He hasn't played for
Pee Wee League.
I don't think he ever played. Dr. Michelle Trawick, PhD, is the John Becker Dean of the University of Nebraska at Omaha's UNO College of Business Administration and Professor of Economics. That was probably my worst subject in business school. Over the course of her 25 years in higher education, Michelle has won numerous awards for teaching, research, and student advising. She has spent more than a decade immersed in higher education, administration, and advancing the success of students, faculty, and staff. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning.
And you and Jeff and I, we went to lunch with Stephen Driscoll, who's with your organization, and learned a lot about the college and very impressed about everything that's going on at the College of Business Administration. I went to Tulane University, which is a faraway place, and I would have been honored to go to your business school.
Well, thank you. It is a love that everyone who's there has for our mission. We serve an important role here in Omaha and go to work every day to make it successful and ensure that our students and our community are better off because we exist.
And we'll get into it, but it's amazing how all of UNO, but especially the College of Business Administration, how you engage with corporate citizens, stakeholders, and you're out there. The Exarban campus is an amazing thing. Carl Mammal, Rod Roden, two people that I've known for a long time. Their names are on there, but there's thousands of other people that make things happen over there. And the college goes back 71 years to Omaha University when it was on Dodge Street. And give us a little bit of your background. You hail from Kentucky.
Yes, I grew up on a farm in Kentucky, in south central Kentucky, just north of Nashville, Tennessee, not too far. I am a first-generation college student, went to Western Kentucky University, fell in love with learning, and kept going to school. I'm not any smarter than the average bear, but I'm pretty stubborn, and so I just kept going until I went as far as I could. Graduated from North Carolina State University, and then have been on a trek in higher education to make a difference in the lives of folks the way education has done for me.
Now, in Kentucky, do they have Nebraska jokes?
I'm not sure they know where Nebraska is.
Okay,
so.
that's the joke right there. But
there's the joke.
Just for the record, we never make fun of Kentucky.
That's
yeah, right. It's okay. We all make fun of Kentucky. They'll make fun of us when they get a chance.
Well, Michelle, I'm seeing here over 16,000 CBA alumni are actually living and working in Omaha today. I am one of them. I actually have an MBA from UNO, so I appreciate all the work that you have done there and the department as a whole. I think it's just a great place, and it really changed my life because I was in a career change. So for me, it was a big deal. I was a science geek in college, and then I changed to business. And if it wasn't for that MBA, I don't think I'd be where I am today. So 16,000, that's an incredible number.
Well, I think I had a typo. It's it's over 13,000. So truth in numbers, right?
Gotcha.
It's over 13,000 living alumni working right here in the Omaha Metro.
Will be 16,000 shortly, I'm
Let's
sure.
hope so. We're working on it.
The College of Business Administration at UNO had a major event happened in 2010, right?
With the opening of Mammal Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
it was
in
a major
Roskins Hall
event.
before.
That's right.
And was that where you went?
I was at Mammal Hall, so I can't believe it's really only been 2010, and now we have a new wing, and we have all this new construction in a beautiful building. I really enjoyed going there every day, and it felt like I was making meaningful connections, and there was so many conferences, and the alumni network is very strong, so I saw a lot of those folks there too. So the facility is wonderful.
Well, we work really hard. We have an amazing team of folks that make sure that the technology is state of the art. We want our students to feel as if they are in a true professional work environment. It's a really high quality, high end learning environment for them.
You had big shoes to fill, and Dean Lou Pohl, who is beloved and still an advisor to you, was there for 17 years. And when did you take over for him?
I started in February 1 of 2020.
Okay, so you're fairly fresh.
Yes.
Quite the timing there.
I know. It wasn't the best of timing. On the other hand, I really felt like UNO was well prepared to handle the pandemic. Our college had made great strides in perfecting some of the skills needed to do distance education. And so for many of our faculty, it wasn't a huge lift when we had to flip due to COVID. For the others who had not worked on that, we already had staff and colleagues who could help train and tweak some of their techniques so that our students didn't suffer as much as I think some schools really suffered with flipping to online. We did pretty well.
So way back in 1987, when I went down to Tulane University, we had to do 2 years arts and science, and then the business school was 2 years for an undergraduate Bachelor of Science in Management. How does it work at the College of Business Administration at UNO?
It's a little different here in that you could, depending upon your background, you could go ahead and start taking some business classes early on. We integrate the liberal arts through our general education program throughout the curriculum. It is more business heavy the last 2 years, but we do make sure that students have that liberal arts education spread throughout.
So when they apply for UNO from high school, do they declare that they're going to go in the business school?
They do. We do. We allow admission on the front end. Not all business schools do that, as you mentioned. We allow admission on the front end, but we have exit requirements in terms of GPA and grades achieved. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. So you've been there for a few years now.
Yes.
And
no longer new.
Hopefully, you don't have that new dean smell, right?
Exactly. It's all worn off.
Okay, that's good. And that's why I asked about Jorge, if his kids have that new baby smell still.
Mine does. One of them actually does.
He's fresh.
He is fresh.
He's
3 months?
4 weeks.
4 weeks. Wow.
Yeah.
Moving right along. Let's talk about let's talk about the presence. And you have 15 undergraduate concentrations. And what are the most popular?
Gosh, they change over time. Just like there's a business cycle, there's also a cycling of our concentrations. Nationwide, accounting is on a decline, yet accounting employers are really in high demand for them. So there's some transitioning there. And
we're going to have like 80,000 new IRS agents. We need more accountants.
Apparently. Right now, real estate's on the rise. It had declined for a few years, but it's really growing quickly right now at UNO.
That's
Dr. Baberwick
one, yeah.
is an unbelievable force over there, and you're lucky to have him.
And that's a unique thing to have a real estate major or focus at a business college. Not everybody has that. I thought that was really, really cool, actually.
There aren't many in this region, and we've got an undergraduate program along with a certificate that non-degree seeking folks can come and take those classes to get the certificate. Our sales program is growing really quickly. That program at some institute, when you hear about it, not everyone understands the impact of a sales program.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Jeff's going to be disappointed he's not here for our conversation about a sales
because he's a sales trainer all over the world. But so Jorge and I are clearly in sales, and it's such a term that is, it's kind of hard. It sounds obvious, but at the same time, this is the first I've heard of a sales. Is it a degree in sales, or is it a Bachelor of Science in Management? What is it?
All of our undergraduate degrees are Bachelors of Science in Business Administration with concentrations, those 15
like marketing.
concentrations. Marketing, accounting. Well, sales is one of those concentrations. And why it's so important, in my opinion, is that it blends with, say, your real estate concentration. Then you can add on that secondary sales concentration to really enhance your skills. I encourage all incoming students to at least take the first sales class. Those techniques that you learn in that class go a long way to advancing a professional in any career, in any occupation.
Absolutely.
What's interesting is, I love negotiation. And do you have negotiation classes?
They cover that in one of our upper level.
See, I think that should be a class.
Yeah, I think there was the first class I took in the MBA was actually, I think, the sales course. And we did negotiation, and we not only that, but it was like mock firing and hiring.
That's my favorite
those
part.
Are interesting.
We need to take a short break. We're talking to Dr. Michelle Trawick, the John Becker Dean of the University of Nebraska at Omaha's College of Business Administration and a professor of economics. You're joined by Trenton Magid and guest co-host Jorge Sotolongo. We'll be right back after the mid-show break. And welcome back to the Grow Omaha Show, brought to you by D&M Roofing and Dingman's Collision Center, which also does mechanical. And my friends at Dingman's, I've spent way too much time with my cars over there. Not their fault, but they turn them around pretty quickly. And it was amazing the quality of work that Dingman's does, both on the mechanical side and the collision side. 4 locations, family owned. Their name is really Dingman. 3rd generation. It's run by Andy Dingman and Travis Dingman. Boyd is still there as an advisor, but he's working on a truck. He's built many motorcycles from the ground up. Wonderful person. They've done a lot for Omaha. They're always voted the best of Omaha. So check out Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Shop for all your repairs. Well, it's time for the Noddle Development Spotlight. Noddle Companies is the company that you see all over the place, and they, over the years, they have built, it was Commercial Federal Business Park, and then now it's Bank of the West Business Park, First National Business Park, Exarban Village. They're doing the Kiewit project, the Builders District downtown. But they, along with Kiewit, all over the Southport area where PayPal had 244,000 square feet in 2 buildings, 29 acres, room for well over 1,000 employees. And this is right across from Cabela's. This is where I've done a lot of work, Southport East. Last week, they closed for $32.4 million, and there's a lot of different divisions of Kiewit moving into those buildings soon. Jorge, I've got 3 lots over there that I need to sell. Beautiful lots for office or retail right next to Nebraska Multi-Sport Complex. And this is a boon for Doug Kindig and City of La Vista.
I think it just got a whole lot easier because this is an amazing acquisition and an amazing new tenant in this location.
And I think PayPal had over 3,000 employees at their peak. They got 2 buildings. They had a whole restaurant and commissary, and they have a path that goes across the street. A ton of parking, and
they had recently renovated that property.
Yeah, one of those buildings was totally renovated. So, Noddle Companies and Kiewit, welcome to La Vista. Thank you for making my job easier in selling land. Also, under the Noddle Company banner, Exarban Village is getting another great restaurant. Carlos Mendez, you probably know who he is.
Great friend of mine.
Au Courant. And you know what he's doing over there?
Oh, yeah.
So he's opening up a restaurant where Greenbelly went out on 67th Street in Exarban Village. It's a rotisserie chicken concept called Rub, RUB. RUB.
RUB, and it's a kind of Latin American inspired chicken and rice concept. I'm so excited about it. You know, being from Puerto Rico myself, Carlos and I, we go way back, and love to see a space where, you know, we kind of feel like we can be in our culture.
Did he bring you in on taste testing and all that kind of stuff?
I am going to be tasting at some point, not because he offered, but because I'm going to ask him.
All right, let's get back to our discussion with Dr. Michelle Trawick, who is the Dean of the College of Business Administration at UNO. And let's talk about what are the trends. There's the growth has been incredible over the last couple of years. Why are more students going into business school?
Well, I'm sure you're aware that higher education in general has been questioned about its value. And I think what we're seeing is that potential students, whether they're the traditional high school graduate or non-traditional students who are looking to advance, are thinking about what are the highest value programs for us to study. And there are several programs at UNO that are doing quite well in terms of enrollment. But business is one of those degrees that no matter what ultimate occupation or industry you're in, the skills that we teach are considered of high value. And so I think that is a lot of it, that post-pandemic, people are really even more laser focused on what is of the best value in terms of a college degree.
How has the College of Business Administration reached out to the community, and how do you interact with not just the major employers, but the small business in Omaha, and make sure that your students get practical experience?
Well, there are really so many ways, and it could vary from guest speakers that we have to come into the classroom, all the way to for our undergraduates, our graduating seniors, work on. We have what we call a capstone cup, so they break up into teams and they compete in a real live business case. So this past semester, they worked with Rocket Car Wash. They worked with scooters.
That's a liquid business too. Both of those are liquid businesses.
They are. And so they work with the leadership at those companies who are experiencing a strategy problem or some challenge that they'd like to overcome. And they're willing to work with our students to listen to their questions, to allow them research data for their research. And then those students compete on solutions to the problems. And we get judges in from all over the community, including from those companies, to select the winners. At the graduate level for our MBA, those capstone projects are based on real life projects at nonprofits here in our community.
Isn't there also a stock market portfolio that your students run?
Yes, that is. It's the Maverick, investment fund. Oh my goodness, the Maverick Investment Fund is managed out of our finance, banking, and real estate department.
How are they doing?
They're doing great. I asked for an update not too long ago. I can't remember, but they're in pretty good shape. David Volkman, who's been the department chair for, I don't know, not quite 3 decades, but it's been a while. He works with a team of students. He and another faculty member work with a team of students, and every year there's a transition in terms of who's managing. But the feedback I get from the students, they form a little club basically to manage that portfolio. It's a really great experience.
You know, if my investment advisor doesn't pick it up, I'm going to talk to you about putting money with that group.
Okay, sounds good. Well, we have a venture fund too. That's something different. So we accept donations. It's not for profit, but we accept donations. And then we have a group of students who do due diligence and then award startup monies to companies in the area. So it's really cool.
Nice.
Pretty great. Lots of great practical experience that you can have there. I mean, personally, I was a graduate assistant at the Nebraska Business Development Center, and that was a real job. And we went out and talked to small businesses and advised them on getting SBA loans or getting government contracts with like the GSA, for example. So, and I know that still exists. That was a huge one. I see here mention of a student success center. That also seems to be a pretty a great resource, I guess, for the students there as well. Can you expand a little bit on that?
Absolutely. It consists of a team of professional advisors, and we all know how important it is to be careful with your path so you don't waste time or money as you're progressing. So we've got professional advisors. We've got our own career center. Real life work experience is really important for our business graduates, and so they help with internship placement and final job placement. We have a recruiting team as well that help us develop pipelines of students that will come in to study business, that maybe even folks who might not have ever considered business as a possibility for them. And then we have our Scholars Academy as well. It is a learning community. 20 students a year are admitted to that. It's a really high-touch, highly engaged group of undergraduates. So at any one time, we have about 80. I think they've got maybe a 95, 96% graduation rate.
Wow. Well, Dr. Michelle Trawick, we're lucky to have you at UNO and running the College of Business Administration. We appreciate you coming on, and we told you it'd be a quick hour. And it is. And so we have a break that we have to hit, but thank you.
Thank
we
you.
look forward to working with you, and Grow Omaha is a big fan of yours and of your programs, and long live UNO Business School.
Go Mavs.
Go
Thank
Mavs.
you.
Thank you. You're listening to Trenton Magid and Jorge Sotolongo, and we'll be back after a short break, and we're going to have the Turner Lightning Round. There is a lot of stuff going on in this city, and it will be fun-filled and fact-filled, and you'll be able to use it at your cocktail parties tonight. And welcome back to the Grow Omaha Show, brought to you by D&M Roofing and Dingman's Collision Center. Jeff Beals will be back next week with me, but Jorge Sotolongo, our colleague and Omaha Planning Board member, is filling in, and it is time for the Turner Lightning Round. Turner is building for the future. This is a company that is either the largest construction company in the world or certainly one of them, and they act like hometown favorites in Omaha. Turner employs a lot of people in Omaha. They've been expanding. You see their blue signs around, and whether it's an interior remodel or ground-up hospital, anything you want, check out Turner Construction, and they do a great job. Well, there is a lot to talk about going on in Omaha. Also at Exarban, Zaytuna has opened in the Inner Rail Food Hall in Exarban Village. The business started in 2020, serving authentic Mediterranean cuisine out of a food truck in downtown Omaha. Are you a fan of food trucks?
Yeah, I love food trucks. I've been to a few that have now become restaurants, and I think it's a great platform for the right business.
Salty Dog Bar and Grill will open a second location to be constructed building at MH Landing, northeast of 72nd and Grover. The original location at 2411 South 24th Street in Council Bluffs. So welcome to Omaha. Ribbon cutting for On the Border Mexican Grill and Cantina will be July 18th at 8810 South 71st Plaza, kind of near Giles and Papillion. It will be the Dallas-based chain's first Nebraska location. I actually sold that lot to Pizza Ranch, who built a Pizza Ranch, and they decided not to do that. They still have the Pizza Ranch on 84th and Frederick Street in Frederick Square. For some reason, we're drinking more, or these stores, between the new Hy-Vee with a ginormous wine and spirits store, there's a new one called the Rack Wine and Spirits to open a second location at the Waterford Crossing, a new retail building on the northeast corner of 156 and Ida Street. The original location was at 1119 North 204th Avenue. Did the Spencer in our office do that deal, I think? I'm not sure. The Brunch Box has opened at 1308 Jackson Street in the Old Market, the same building as Hero 88. The restaurant serves fast casual brunch and frozen yogurt on Thursday through Saturday. The Brunch Box is open from Thursday through Saturday. It's open until 3 a.m. Athleta plans to open a new store this summer at Nebraska Crossing. The only other store is at Village Point. we have 2 updates to last week's news item about the Flagship Restaurant Group opening 3 restaurants in the Brickline building on 10th Street. Memoir is expected to open late summer or early fall. And then Duck Pin Bowling Entertainment venue will be known as Champagne Lanes.
Champagne Lane.
I assume it's kind of like
It's like a Vietnamese bowling lane.
It'll be interesting. And then Regency Landing near I-680 and Pacific Street will hold a summer pop shop, kind of like a pop-up, Sunday, July 16th, hosted by Blue Sky Patio and Pickleball, as well as the Collective. The pop shop will feature 20 local vendors, including boutiques, makers of specialty services, and food trucks. This is something, Jorge, that I thought was very interesting. Because of the high marketing costs associated with acquiring new online customers, many retailers who are traditionally online natives are going back to brick and mortars. They're putting their products either in their own stores or in department stores, according to the Wall Street Journal. And so I'm wondering if people are going back and saying, you know what? I want to have the shopping experience. I want to feel it, touch it.
It's almost like the opposite effect of when you start brick and mortar and then you want to be able to order something online. I mean, I feel like, they're just amassing an audience online and then some people want it locally. I think it's a good thing.
Have you tried Lyle's Pizzeria?
Not yet. Have you?
No. Go to growomaha.com and you can look up the weekly market report. Sarah Baker Hansen, who does amazing food reviews. Lyle's Pizza.
That sourdough crust looks really good.
Yeah, at 5213 Leavenworth Street. It got a very good review from Sarah, and she's a tough cookie when it comes to reviews. She's very thorough, and she knows what she's doing. Well, that is our show today. I want to thank Dr. Michelle Trawick for doing a great job at the College of Business Administration at UNO, and I want to thank Jorge Sotolongo for filling in for Jeff Beals, and we will join you next week on the Grow Omaha Show at 9 a.m. on Saturday.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.